Hi there, Angela Bishop from Channel 10 News Australia. Congratulations.
Thank you.
How does it feel being part of the Mad Max family with this run that you guys are having tonight?
Go, Ben.
It's unbelievable. I mean, so many of us from Australia are just totally thrilled, Angela. We're over the moon, really, and just so proud to be a part of it with George Miller and Doug Mitchell. I've been with them for a long time, made a lot of films with them. This is my first Academy Awards, and I'm just so stoked. Thank you.
We were talking earlier today just saying that tomorrow is going to be kind of a sad day because we've been together with this crew for so long and that everyone gets along just, unbelievably well. And tomorrow everybody goes their own separate ways. So to have it all run like this tonight is just spectacularly lucky. So thank you.
And then 293 and 176.
Congratulations, gentlemen. Mark Williams from Below the Line. Your colleagues in the sound department just talked about how not much of the location sound was usable in designing the oral landscape. So can you sort of expand on
thanks
that?
a lot, guys.
No, but can you expand on what you were able to capture with all these noise and machines and how you did that?
Yeah, it was quite a challenge. Now, the main synopsis was that the main cast, 7 or 8 of them, going to be in a metal cage. There were going to be 3 or 4 cameras around it, or no cameras and a remote vehicle, the edge arm, that's going to go from like 2 centimetres in the ground, travelling behind the vehicle at 80, 90 kilometres an hour in the off-road, and then tracking right around the back to do a close-up with dialogue. And nobody else was going to be there, and how are you going to do it? And so the thing was that the vehicles were noisy, there was no way out of it. But George had to listen to the performances and make decisions on whether he got the takes or not. We knew very early on that it was going to be ADR dialogue. But at the same time, I gave George a mix of the dialogue. I was doing multi-track recordings of the vehicles that these guys were able to mix into it, and also enhanced by the amazing editors that were before us. Also, there were John Seal was in a land of nowhere, the cinematographer, crouched down with all his other camera guys, and he couldn't hear a thing. So we were so far away from all the walkie-talkie towers and all that kind of stuff, and PJ, the associate producer and first AD, said, how are we going to do this? Can you help us out? So with the normal sound equipment that we've got on set, I set up a whole communication system so George in another vehicle could talk to John Seal. John had a mic, he could talk back to him. And so we were able to make the film, basically, because it was impossible to hear each other otherwise. So that was just another facet of what we had to do. Also, we had another guy recording vehicle sounds in the last few weeks in Namibia, Oliver Mashin, and he did a great job. So all those tracks together were, part of the film.
176, and we'll end with 277.
Hi, congratulations to you all. My question kind of piggybacks off your answer to that one. Did you know much in advance that the sound was going to be captured in the way that it was? And what inspires you to jump on board a picture like this with so many sound challenges?
Well, I've been working with George and Doug Mitchell since 1987, and they've always given me a challenge, and I was just happy to do it. I always love working with those people, and they're very inspirational. But yeah, you can't be scared of something that's going to be difficult. That's the way I approach life anyway.
For us, Chris and I on the re-recording side, working with George, not only him recognizing but embracing our passion for the use of sound and storytelling. And that's what we live for, that's what gives us our fix. And recognizing that in George and going through the whole process with George on that was, what it was for us.
And we'll end with 277.
Hi, congratulations. So going back to that aspect of technical challenges, was this the most challenging film you've edited? And did you know at the time that it was going to be this successful? I don't think anyone could have predicted that. Yeah.
One slight correction, we mixed it, but no worries. When we were first shown an early version of the film, we understood what we were in for. It's all part of what we do. It's what we embrace. We thrive on that situation. So.
And it was extremely challenging, and it wasn't always, we weren't always successful with it. It took a long time to get it right, and it took getting, when we started, George was still finding the cut and finding the whole meter of the movie with Margaret and Junkie XL, who's our composer, who's not here tonight, who we love dearly for his work. But the movie found itself, and even late in the game, there was questions whether the movie was too strange or too off-putting to audiences, and it really wasn't at all. And there was a lot of talk about should we take some of the things out of it that we really loved, which were kind of legacy Mad Max things. And those are that's what made it individual, that's what made it stand out. And to George's credit, I think it's made a lot of filmmakers, ourselves included, take bigger risks, because not only do people recognize that George at 71 years old spent 10 years making this astonishingly crafted movie, but he made all of us rise up to it and do our best work, and he allowed us to do it. And it doesn't always happen. A lot of times we're just a pair of hands to help somebody else's voice. And in this case, it wasn't always successful, and we found a way to make it successful, and we did it together. So it was really great. But it was not, for a long time, it wasn't a successful movie, and it found its place, and it's found its heart and its soul, and it found its audience and critics. So it's a very special experience for us. Thank you for asking.